Hey everyone! Welcome back to Mamtahina's English Learning, your favorite place to practice and master English. Whether you want to speak more fluently, perfect your pronunciation, or boost your confidence for work and travel, I've got you covered with simple, practical lessons every week. If you're ready to take your English to the next level, hit that subscribe button and join our global community. Let's jump straight into today's video. Vanished in the Painted Gallery, an intriguing detective story for aspiring English speakers. The rain fell heavily over the city, turning the streets into rivers of reflected light. Inside the grand halls of the Alderwick Museum of Fine Arts, silence rested upon ancient sculptures and priceless paintings like a thick blanket of dust. At exactly 11:47 p.m., every alarm inside the museum suddenly activated. Security guards rushed toward the underground vault, their footsteps echoing through the marble corridors. When they arrived, they froze in disbelief. The vault door was still sealed. The electronic locks remained untouched. The laser sensors were active. Yet the museum's most valuable masterpiece, the Crimson Widow, had vanished. Only an empty crimson frame remained hanging against the stone wall. And beneath it, written in dark ink across a torn piece of parchment, were 7 chilling words: "The truth hides between the strokes." Within 20 minutes, Chief Detective Elias Werner arrived at the museum. Tall and calm, with sharp gray eyes that missed nothing, Elias stepped into the vault slowly, studying every corner of the room. "No broken locks," he murmured. "No damaged sensors." He turned toward the nervous security chief. "Tell me again," Elias said quietly. "How does a painting disappear from a room nobody entered?" No one answered. Behind the detective stood museum curator Vivian Holloway. Her pale face seemed strangely emotionless despite the catastrophe surrounding them. "It's impossible," she whispered. "The vault can only be opened with 3 security keys." Elias approached the empty frame carefully. Tiny traces of red paint covered the inner edges. Fresh paint. Interesting. He crouched near the floor. No footprints, no scratches, no signs of forced entry. It was as if the painting had simply dissolved into the air. Then he noticed something else. A small leather notebook, partially hidden beneath a nearby table. Inside were dozens of frantic handwritten notes. Authenticity survives only through concealment. The frame imprisons the truth. They are watching the canvas while ignoring the structure. Elias narrowed his eyes. "These aren't artistic thoughts," he said softly. "They're instructions." Vivian suddenly stepped forward. "You think I stole it?" "I think," Elias replied calmly. "You know more than you're telling me." Thunder shook the museum windows. For a brief moment, nobody spoke. The following morning, Elias searched Vivian's private office overlooking the Eastern Gallery. Towering bookshelves filled the room from floor to ceiling. Art history manuscripts lay scattered beside forensic journals and restoration reports. On the wall behind her desk, one sentence had been painted in black ink: "Language conceals motive more effectively than darkness." Elias stared at it thoughtfully. Everything in this case felt theatrical, deliberate, almost like someone wanted the mystery to be solved. He opened Vivian's diary. The entries became increasingly disturbing. 3 days before the disappearance, the trustees remain blind. They admire appearances while corruption spreads beneath the surface. 1 day before the disappearance, the masterpiece deserves protection, even if I must become the villain. Elias slowly closed the diary. At that moment, his assistant, Lena Mercer, entered, carrying several witness statements. "You need to hear this," she said. "A night guard reported hearing someone speaking outside the vault shortly before midnight." "What did they say?" Lena unfolded the paper carefully. "Every masterpiece deserves liberation." Elias looked toward the rain-covered windows. "Liberation," he repeated quietly. "Not theft, liberation." There was a difference. Hours later, The investigation shifted toward the museum's restoration archives. Lena projected enlarged photographs of the Crimson Widow onto a digital screen. "Look closely at the brushstrokes," she said. Elias studied the image carefully. "The paint direction changes near the lower corner," he observed. "Exactly," Lena replied. "The restoration records describe horizontal layering techniques, but the original artist used curved directional strokes." Elias turned sharply. "You're saying the painting in the vault wasn't the original?" Lena nodded slowly. "I think the real masterpiece disappeared weeks ago." Silence filled the room. Suddenly, the entire case changed. The impossible theft was no longer impossible. Someone had replaced the original painting long before the alarms ever sounded. Someone inside the museum. That evening, Elias returned alone to the underground vault. The empty crimson frame still hung silently against the wall. He stepped closer, remembering Vivian's cryptic words. "The frame imprisons the truth." Then suddenly he understood. Not the canvas, the frame. Slowly, Elias removed the frame from the wall. A metallic click echoed through the chamber. Part of the stone wall shifted backward. Behind it lay a hidden compartment. Inside rested a carefully wrapped canvas. Elias unrolled it gently. There she was, the Crimson Widow, the real masterpiece, untouched. Hidden in the vault the entire time, footsteps echoed behind him. Vivian stood silently in the doorway. Tears shimmered in her eyes. "I didn't steal it," she whispered. "I protected it." Elias remained silent. Vivian walked slowly into the room. "A wealthy collector planned to replace the original painting with a flawless forgery during next month's exhibition," she explained. "I warned the museum trustees, but they ignored me. They cared more about money than authenticity." "So you hid the painting yourself?" "Yes, and staged the disappearance?" Vivian nodded. "I needed the world to notice." Rain pounded against the distant glass ceilings above them. "You committed a crime," Elias said quietly. "I know, but without you," he admitted, "the masterpiece would have vanished forever." For the first time since the investigation began, Vivian smiled faintly. By sunrise, the conspiracy surrounding the museum had been exposed. Several trustees were arrested for fraud and illegal dealings with private collectors, and once again, visitors gathered beneath the restored masterpiece, admiring its haunting beauty without realizing how close it had come to disappearing forever. As the crowd moved through the gallery, Lena stood beside Elias in silence. "Funny, isn't it?" she said softly. "What is?" Everyone spent days staring at the painting. Elias looked toward the crimson frame hanging around the masterpiece. "But the answer," he replied, "was hidden around it the whole time." Thank you so much for watching Mumtahina's English Learning. If this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend. Don't forget to write your practice sentences in the comments below. I love reading them. Keep practicing, stay confident, and I will see you in the next lesson. Bye!